Coming up on As Told by Destiny, Tia and Tamera have a new obsession and his name is Cold Dog. Find out what happens next as Told by Destiny travels to the sister universe.
Hello out there in TV land. Take a look at your monitors.
Hi, I'm Destiny from As Told by Destiny. You're watching YouTube. An episode of Sister titled Model Tia, where the girls meet an online predator who lures them to his apartment, has always rightfully so been credited as the most disturbing episode of the show. The writers were loud and clear about the point and the message of the episode. Beware of who you meet online, beware of the dangers of the internet.
I trusted that slime ball.
Now that slime ball won't be doing too much interneting from a jail cell, but there are plenty more out there just as slimy.
But then there's this one other episode of Sister from season 1 titled The Concert, where the topic is just as disturbing, but the writers treat it more like a joking matter instead of an actual serious problem. Let's get into it. So the episode starts off with our girls getting down to some typical sounding 90s hip hop. Now to me it sounds like they're getting lit to that slam song by the group one of Moesha's boyfriends used to be in. Onyx, let me put some respect on their name because Mr. Fredro Starr did tell us to do the knowledge, nigga.
Michael Jordan cut his hair bald because of Onyx.
Because of Onyx. Get out of here.
Do the knowledge, nigga.
In the middle of getting their groove thing on, Tia and Tamera start going on and on about how they can't live, breathe, think, eat, walk, talk, or function without music.
Nothing is more important. Not even clothes. Not even guys. Hey, now don't get crazy.
Whoa, brother, whoa, now. You got too much dip on your chip.
Then they go on to tell us that out of all the music they are currently into at the moment, there's just this one dude who's the coolest and the finest. Our girls are talking about some rapper named Cold Dog, who's obviously a made-up artist for the Sister universe, but at the same time, I'm pretty sure he's supposed to be a parody of some of the music artists that were running rampant in 1994 when this episode aired. Anywho, then just as Tia and Tamera finished raving to us about how much they love Cold Dog, the song they were jamming to, which turns out to be one of his songs, comes to an end on the radio. Apparently it was something by him called Unleash Me, but I swear it sounded just like that slam song. Maybe I need to get my ears checked, or maybe it was supposed to be on purpose as some kind of spoof of the song. I don't know. Anywho, then the radio station DJ announces that whoever is the first person to call down to the station and tell him the name of Cold Dog's hometown will win a copy of Cold Dog's new CD. Tia and Tamera are currently crazy about that man, so of course they instantly know the answer and attempt to make the call, but they end up not winning the CD due to Tamera calling a pizza place instead of the radio station, and the prize goes to a lady named Aquanetta.
We'll get your address.
I love Cold Dog. Shut up, Aquanetta.
Now, this moment may seem insignificant based on the overall plot, but Tia and Tamera knowing the name of Cold Dog's hometown right off the top of the dome like that shows how deep off in his fandom they are. That's important. In fact, they are so deep off in the Cold Dog fandom that barely 4 minutes go by in the episode before we are right back in their room, forced to endure him again. I must explain that today, when I decide to rewatch Sister, I normally go right to season 4, which starts the era of them having their hair fried, dyed, and laid to the side. Although the show is very iconic to me overall, in my book, that's when things really get entertaining. Me rewatching the show from season 1 still happens here and there, but it's real rare these days. But I do still remember that in season 1 and maybe season 2, Brittany Murphy was the token white girl in their friend group before Denise's aka Tanya's crazy ass came along. Plus there were also this one other random black girl that didn't stick around long enough for me to know her name, but I said all of that to say that her and Brittany are in attendance and they got love for the dog too.
I just love Cold Dog. I love him more.
Roger's weird ass is randomly seen in their room also, but that literally has nothing to do with the plot. He's just there to do what he was normally known to do around Tia and Tamera, or any other girl for that matter. Act like he didn't have no goddamn sense or self-control.
Anybody want to take a shower?
What did he say?
Anyways, Tia and Tamera started talking to their homegirls about needing money for concert tickets because Cold Dog will be in town this weekend and you already know they trying to be in the building. This is when Brittany Murphy's character tells them about a trick she says always works on her parents. She tells them to ask their parents for something outrageous like a trip to Europe, then when they say no, they can slide the concert tickets in there as something that seems like it's not that big of a deal. That way, Ray and Lisa will think they're getting off easy. And just as Tamera says that sounds like a good idea, Ray shows up asking if they can turn the music down, making it the perfect time for them to execute the plan so they can get them tickets. Tamera goes up to her father and does exactly what Brittany Murphy's character suggested. She randomly asks him if he could send her and Tia to Europe, but the one thing none of them counted on was Ray, Mr. Moneybugs Campbell, actually being down with it.
That's a great idea.
Ray's money was longer than most and he loved the hell out of those girls, so sending them to Europe feels like light work to him, especially if he thinks they can learn something from the experience.
Yeah, you can immerse yourself in culture, museums, cathedrals, art galleries.
Ew. But can we just take a moment to really appreciate Ray Campbell as a father? I'm not sure we as a community have ever really given him the proper credit he deserves for being one of the best fathers in Black sitcom history. Shout out to Ray. And hell, while I'm at it, fuck Frank Mitchell and his haircut. That ain't got nothing to do with the plot, but fuck him.
Woke up, I looked at the computer say, Floyd said, fuck T.I., fuck Nelly, fuck 50. I'm like, what did he say fuck me for?
Anyways, as good as a trip to Europe sounds to me, Tia and Tamera don't want to go to no goddamn Europe. They want to see Cold Dog. They are so blinded by their fangirl affection for that man that they basically say forget flying overseas and getting a one-in-a-lifetime experience that most people will never get. They trying to be up in that concert, so you already know our girls get down to business and they swing the conversation over to them tickets expeditiously.
As a matter of fact, there's a concert this weekend. Maybe we should go.
When they tell Ray that they want to go see Cold Dog instead, he just assumes that Cold Dog is some new harmless heartthrob that the girls are crazy about at the moment. And after cracking a few dad jokes about Cold Dog's stage name,
If he really gets cold, they call him Chili Dog.
he gives in pretty easily and tells the girls that he'll treat them to the concert this weekend. So the concert tickets get secured and everything seems all fine and dandy until Ray hears the mess coming out of the radio.
Baby says no, slap that. Is this Cold Dog?
Oh my God. Is this who we are? Is this what we represent?
Now, at this point in the show, Tia and Tamera are only 14 years old, so I completely understand why Ray would be concerned with the fact that that's the type of music they are consuming. It's very alarming.
Kick out the dough, dump the sleazer.
That's Skeezer, Mr. Campbell.
But Tamera tells him that they don't listen to the words, they listen to the music as if that makes any sense. But it makes complete sense to me because I fully understand what is happening here. Celebrity idolization. They are young, impressionable girls who happen to be very into Cold Dog. They think he's attractive and probably also think that they know him beyond his lyrics just because they can pass a few trivia questions about his life. Lord knows I've been there, done that. I can't judge Tia and Tamera at all. In fact, I vividly remember my top 5 favorite male artists when I was 14, and those men were not making music for teenage girls, but Lord knows I was fully tuned in. I fear and know I will deserve to be judged if I were to drop those names, so we won't even go there. This ain't got nothing to do with me. But I said all that to say I know all about the fangirl mentality. It's a very diluted one. It's one that will have a person saying, Dad, we don't listen to the words, we listen to the music. Girl. Anyways, Ray tells them that the words are the music and says that he's not spending one lousy cent to support Cold Dog. So we find ourselves right back at square one. But Tia and Tamera don't give up there. They go straight to Lisa. And at first she questions them about what Ray said about the concert, but they basically butter her up by telling her that Ray is lame and doesn't understand their kind of music, so they had to come to her, the cool, hip parent. That of course has Lisa feeling real good about herself, so therefore she tells them that she'll give them the money to go see Mr. Dog.
So can we have the money?
Sure, I just sold 6 moo-moos. I'm rolling in dough.
And again, the concert tickets are secured and everything seems all fine and dandy until Ray shows up and puts a dent in their plans once more.
Didn't I tell you I wasn't going to spend any money on this concert?
That's why we asked Lisa.
He makes Tamera give Lisa her Walkman. I didn't exist until 1999, but I'm pretty sure that's a Walkman. Y'all gonna correct me if I'm wrong. Ray makes Tamera play Lisa some Cold Dog so she can hear why he's so adamant about the girls not going to the concert. Lisa listens to the lyrics and I don't even know what she heard, but she's so disgusted that she says she's not spending one dime of her money on Cold Dog. And when Tia and Tamera try to object, Lisa says that they can't have that kind of woman hang thinking in the house, so Cold Dog must have been saying some crazy shit. Tamera says that he doesn't mean anything by it, so they do hear the words. They just, like I said, most likely probably think they know him beyond the music because they may have read a few magazines or seen a few interviews. Story of my life.
So what do you think he's saying?
You just don't understand.
Oh, like we were never young?
Right.
But no matter what Tia and Tamera try to say, their parents have their minds made up and they rightfully so don't approve of Cold Dog's music or him as a person really for their teenage daughters. So Tia and Tamera are not getting the money out of them.
Not only does his music degrade women, but it condones violence.
I bet you he don't have a mother and a father. That's why they call him the dog.
But just as Tia and Tamera are back in their room, down on their luck with their backs up against the wind, coincidentally, the DJ from earlier announces on the radio that they are giving out free concert tickets and backstage passes to any Cold Dog fan who can call down to the station and answer one question about him. Tia and Tamera get on their phone like their lives depend on it, and they actually get through because Tamera called the right number instead of a pizza place this time. The question they have to answer is what is Cold Dog's real name, but they run into a little bit of a problem because they aren't sure if it's Herbert Calvin or Calvin Herbert.
Cold Dog's real name is... Just say anything. Cold Dog! You blew it, you idiot! I hate you!
But luckily for them, he legally changed his real name to his stage name, so our girls finally secured those tickets and they got backstage passes. What could really go wrong for real? We jump to the night of the concert and Tia and Tamera come downstairs looking and behaving very suspicious because now they gotta sneak off to that concert. The first thing they decide to do is bomb rush the door while only saying one word to their parents, which is bye. So of course now Lisa wants to know what they have planned for the night. Then we finally get a name for that one other black girl when Tia and Tamera tell their parents that they just plan on hanging out with Brenda and Sarah and a few other people while listening to some music. Sarah, which is the name of Brittany Murphy's character, will continue to be addressed as such.
You're not gonna listen to those Cold Dog CDs.
Oh no, not the CDs.
Which is technically true because they about to go see him live. Then, not picking up on the fact that Tia and Tamera are lying, Ray tells the girls to have fun and to be home before 11. Them having a 11 o'clock curfew seems kind of insane to me. But then again, I'm looking at this episode from the current state of the world and what I experienced growing up. Tia and Tamera aren't living like I was. They're living in a nice neighborhood and having a nice upbringing. So maybe 11 o'clock isn't crazy. But nah, that still feels crazy. Anywho, they don't show us Cold Dog's performance. We just jump straight to after the concert where Tia, Tamera, Brenda, and Brittany Murphy's character are losing their minds after experiencing him live. And this is where we get the first signs that maybe being backstage at a Cold Dog concert is the last place a group of teenage girls need to be. There are a bunch of adults waiting to get backstage to Cold Dog. Tia, Tamera, and their friend group seem to be the only teens in attendance. So now we have these 4 teenage girls with no adult supervision and no one around who really has their best interest at heart. So things can only go downhill from here, and they do. Since Tia and Tamera won backstage passes, which allows them access to Cold Dog up close and personal, they go up to the bouncer to claim their prize. But the bouncer, who is played by Bruh Man from the 5th Flow, stops them in their tracks, assuming that they don't have the right to be backstage. But then in the middle of stopping them, he proceeds to allow 2 women who don't even acknowledge him walk in while checking them out. Feeling slighted, Tamera says, wait a minute, they don't have passes. Bruh Man from the 5th Flow says they don't need any, again showing that this is not the environment they need to be in.
I think I'm insulted.
But of course, Tia and Tamera don't see it, and I don't expect them to. They are minutes away from meeting their favorite music artists. That's their main focus. So Tia tells bruh man from the 5th floor that they are the radio contest winners and he sees their names on the list. So he allows them past him to get checked by security and to get their passes. While that is happening, the writers decided it would be knee-slapping hilarious to have Brenda walk up to bruh man from the 5th floor and they have that child wink at that grown man and say that she's one of those girls who doesn't need a pass.
Hi, I'm one of those girls who doesn't need a pass.
Of course she doesn't know what that entails, and maybe the young audience that this show was aimed at didn't either, but me watching with my adult eyes and fully developed frontal lobe now understand how insane that is to have a character her age do, whether it was for shits and giggles or not. But luckily, bruh man from the 5th floor is not who we need to be worried about in this episode.
Baby girl, what's wrong with your eye?
Oh, it gets way worse. We then cut to Tia and Tamera, who are finally backstage where they think they still want to be, but it's been about 30 minutes and they haven't laid eyes on Cold Dog yet because he's supposedly in the bathroom. Tamera tries to justify it by saying that maybe Cold Dog is in there taking a nice hot bath to unwind. But then 2 women walk out of the bathroom and Tia commentates that they must be Cold Dog's official unwinders.
They must be his official unwinders.
That joke was obviously to allude to the fact that Cold Dog was in that bathroom with those women doing extracurricular activities. So my question would be, on a show centered around 2 teenage girls with an audience that was more than likely made up of individuals who were in that same age range, is that not a crazy thing to have Tia say? Especially because I'm pretty sure that just like with Brenda, it's supposed to have an innocent undertone that Tia definitely doesn't know what she just said could be considered a double entendre, but the audience does. What audience at this particular point in time? Wasn't Sister aimed at teens or younger? I know that Sister wasn't a Disney Channel original, but they used to play it on Disney Channel. It was a show for kids. So who is that joke for?
I wanna know that. Okay. I really want to know that.
Anywho, then we finally lay eyes on the infamous Cold Dog, and he's played by Flex Alexander. And Tia and Tamera react to him like you would expect 2 teens who are just excited to be in the presence of their favorite music artist to act. Tamera says he's gorgeous, and Tia says, look, he's eating a carrot just like a regular person.
I can't believe it. We got Cold Dog's carrot.
This moment shows how absolutely innocent Tia and Tamera are. The radio DJ from the station Tia and Tamera won the contest from shows up and is prepared to introduce them to Cold Dog. But before they can make it to him, that nigga starts tripping, showing them a taste of who he is in real life. He's basically a diva. They watch him fire somebody for putting raisins in his trail mix when he said no damn raisins ever.
It's too late, man. You fired.
Cold Dog, that's your father.
Get his old wrinkle butt out of here.
Seeing that causes Tia to say, you know, he's not that cute in person. But when the radio host calls him over, they're still excited to meet him. Now, I have to say that Cold Dog is at least in his early 20s. Hell, I'll even say that maybe he was supposed to be 18 or 19, but the point is, he's still considerably older than Tia and Tamera. So while with the weird ass double entendres, this episode has already displayed a level of disturbance to me, but this is when it turns into a case for my girl Olivia Benson. Cold Dog walks up to Tia and Tamera, and the first thing out of his mouth is,
twins.
I'm Tamera and this is my sister Tia.
Then he wants to know how old they are, and of course they tell him 14. Cold Dog's response is,
oh, 14 is cool. You know what I was doing when I was 14?
Now the episode has already given me enough to the point that I don't have to try to read in between the lines. Everything is right there. But for that moment, I think he was trying to insinuate to those girls that he was doing grown men things at 14, but I don't know. Maybe I'm reaching with that one. Anyways, Tia and Tamera innocently answer his question with some fan trivia. They say he was back up dancing for another made-up artist in the Sister universe.
Hey, you know all about my life, huh?
We're fanatics.
Now, Tia and Tamera are obviously two very innocent young girls. Maybe I'll even throw out the word naive. The normal thing would be for Cold Dog to, I don't know, give them his autograph, take a picture, and send them on their way. But since I'm pretty sure the writers were aiming to make this some sort of never meet your idols, your parents were right kind of moment, I understand that they need to make Cold Dog off-putting to the girls. They need a moment with him that will make them realize that his music isn't just lyrics but a testament to who he really is. I understand that. The writers already had Cold Dog be rude to his father who was working for him, but to further get that point across, there are a lot of things the writers could do, but they decide to turn Cold Dog into a predator for his shits and giggles.
You wanna hang out with me tonight?
What did he say?
Police! Help! Police! Help! Police! Help!
One of the girls from the bathroom says to Cold Dog that she thought they were happening tonight, and he tells her that she already happened and to sit down and pick the raisins out of his trail mix.
Get over there and pick the raisins out of that bowl.
Okay, Cold Dog.
Then he doubles down on his predatory behavior towards Tia and Tamera by telling them that if they play their cards right, they can be the inspiration to his next song.
Twin booty is a thing of beauty. Write that down, somebody.
Yes.
Police! Help! Police! Help! Police! Help!
Now, I'll be the first to admit that childhood trauma has completely fried my brain. My memory is ridiculous right now. But somehow I still managed to keep in my mind that there was a slight different version of this episode than what is available on streaming services today. I don't know why the next scene got cut out, but luckily I remembered it and was able to find it. In the original version of the episode, the next thing that happens is Cold Dog asking Tia and Tamera if they are ready to hang out or what.
We are hanging out.
You know what I'm talking about. Let's party.
Then the girls push Cold Dog off of them and let him have it. Tia tells him that they're not going anywhere with him because he's a low-life womanizing skis-ball, and she asks that they're people, not property. Tamera tells him that he's history and they are sick of him and his degrading lyrics. Then Cold Dog hits them with his most memorable line, and probably the one that had people laughing instead of internalizing that man was a whole predator.
You walk out that door, don't come back no more.
Tia and Tamera basically say gladly, but before making their exit, they tell him that no woman will ever buy his music again. But then our girls pop up and tell us that it didn't really happen like that because it's hard to stand up to a jerk like Cold Dog. Then we get what actually happened in the only version you can find on streaming services today. For some reason, they are no longer circulating the part where Tia and Tamera stood up for themselves. I don't know why. Instead, we just get Cold Dog asking if they are ready to hang out or what, and Tia and Tamera reacting in an understandably scared manner.
We can't do that. Yeah, it's a school night.
Then they do stand up to him a little bit by Tamera telling him that he's not a very nice person. Then as they turn to leave, Cold Dog hits them with,
You walk out that door, don't come back no more.
Okay.
Then we end up back at the house. Tia and Tamera walk in talking about what they experienced at the concert, not realizing that Ray and Lisa can hear them. They talk about how the experience was kind of scary and agree that their parents were right.
Let's sneak upstairs the back way. I'm glad we got away with this.
Ray and Lisa are upset that the girls lied to them, but they don't know if they should do something about it or let it go knowing that experience was the best teacher.
I guess we could just sit back and know that experience was the best teacher.
Go up there and catch them while they're fresh.
Then in one of those after the credit scenes, we see Tia and Tamera taking down their Cold Dog poster, and they tell us that they never listened to his music again and told their friends to do the same.
But his album still went platinum. Double platinum. I hope he chokes on a reason.
Then the episode basically wraps up with them finding out from an announcement on the radio that Cold Dog dropped a new song called Twin Booty. I know my hair is a little on the rough side. This hairstyle is in its last legs. I'm gonna take it down after this, but if you say anything about my hair, you are anti-black, so. I'm pretty sure that the writers only intended for this to be one of those never meet your idols, your parents were right type of episodes. This episode came out in 1994, so I'm pretty sure Cold Dog was supposed to be a parody of some of the rappers that were around. I know the writers were obviously trying to send a message like these men are making degrading music and young kids should probably not listen to them and all that good jazz but they also made Cold Dog a predator. When I first decided that I wanted to recap this episode, before I watched it, I had like fond memories of it. I remember it being funny. But when I sat down and watched this episode with my fully developed frontal lobe, I said to myself, well, wait a minute. Ain't shit funny about this. They made Cold Dog a predator, and to me, it's given they just threw that in there as a joke when there's nothing to joke about. Like, I thought I was tripping when I watched this episode, and it actually kind of made me very uncomfortable. Thought I was tripping. Like, I'm like, Destiny, are you doing too much? You know, are you being a party pooper? Are you being a Debbie Downer? But no, they joked about that man being a predator, and they didn't do nothing with it. Like, I was about to say that maybe the show didn't have to send no message, you know, but this was a show aimed at kids. They played this show on Disney Channel. The audience, their targeted audience was preteens, teens, and maybe even, you know, younger kids. Every single episode ain't got to be a learning moment, but if you're gonna make a man a predator in the episode, you should be trying to teach the kids something. That should be a teachable moment. To me, one of those episodes where when you turned it on, Lisa, Ray, and the twins were sitting on the couch and they was like, watch this one with your parents. That's how serious this topic is for me. And I feel like they made light of the topic. I feel like they played with it. Maybe they wanted to make the main message, don't idolize celebrities. If they're degrading women in their music, they're probably doing that in real life. Listen to your parents. But the writers didn't want to ruffle any feathers, so they didn't want to make a whole episode about predators in the music industry. But with a topic like that, I think you're supposed to ruffle some feathers. If TV shows were calling out, like they called rappers out for their degrading lyrics and, you know, all that good stuff, all that, and that's good too. But maybe if they were willing to call out whoever this episode was secretly supposed to be about, then maybe we wouldn't have Surviving R. Kelly today. When I was looking for the original scene where Tia and Tamera stood up to Cold Dog, I was reading the comments and somebody said that they think this episode could have been about R. Kelly. So you're telling me that in 1994, R. Kelly is running wild enough for people to know about it, that they're making a TV show episode that's secretly supposed to be about him, and we still got Surviving R. Kelly? I guess my discomfort with the episode now is that they didn't take the topic serious. If they wasn't gonna take the topic serious, they shouldn't even did that. They could have still made their point with Cold Dog just being mean to Tia and Tamera. They could have still been a don't idolize celebrities. If they're degrading women in their music, they're probably degrading women in real life, and they could have still learned something from it. But they went out of their way to make that man a predator. And they did nothing with it. They joked about it. They had him still drop that twin booty song. And this was a show for kids. I guess that's really my beef, because Brenda walking up to bruh man from the fifth floor and saying to that man, I'm one of those girls that don't need a backstage pass. Who was that joke for? Tia saying they must be his official unwinders. On a show where the audience is children, who is that joke for? I'm trying to get my point across. I understand that Sister is a sitcom. They are going to make jokes. It's going to be jokey. In the Model Tia episode about the online predator, they joked all throughout that episode. But still, that man ended up in jail at the end. But still, Ray punched that man in the face and he yelled at the girls about how dangerous it was for them to go over there. And, you know, anything could happen to them. This should have had the same kind of energy. I feel like if you are a person writing for a kids TV show and you're going to make a music artist a predator in the episode, then I feel like it's your job to be sending some kind of message. It's your job for it to have a point. In Cold Dog being a predator in this episode really did have a point. It really looked like they just threw that in there as a joke, and that's crazy.